One mom recently asked me to do a video about tattling. So let me do that now so that you can have some way to frame how you're going to work with tattling, understand it as you're working with your children. The reality is you want kids to report to you when another child's doing some damage or hurting themselves or getting into trouble, or you want those reports so that you can go and do something about it. But at the same time, some children come with tattling. How do you know the difference between just reporting something and tattling? I think it's a great question, and children often don't understand this, so we have to help them understand it more clearly. Tattling is really this idea of trying to get someone else in trouble intentionally. That's the goal, is that I want to put someone down or get them into trouble, and that's why I'm reporting this information. It often comes from this sense that children have that they want to compare or compete with others. They want to make themselves look good. And so it comes from this sense of pride that if I can make someone else look bad, I can feel better myself. And if I can get my brother in trouble, then I can feel okay. I didn't get in trouble. I got my brother in trouble. And so then I feel better about myself. This is a dangerous kind of perception. And this is what we're trying to teach children. You can't do that. That's wrong. That when you see a problem happening, you want to learn how to address that. I mean, I think that sometimes our children really need to go to the other brother or sister and say, look, what you're doing is wrong. If you don't change that, I'm going to report it to mom or dad. That's what sometimes children need to do. Sometimes they need to come directly to you and report that the sibling's trying to flush the cat down the toilet or something. We want that information. It's important to us to get that information so we can do something about it. But sometimes children don't get it in this regard. And what they're doing is they're just using it as a way to get up or get revenge on someone or to get a better view of themselves because they are the one who reported it and they're doing the right thing and the other child is doing the wrong thing. So this tattling is dangerous and must be addressed. So we have to help children when they come to us with tattling to know how to respond to it. And I think we have a number of responses that we can ask. One is simply to say, are you just reporting that to get your brother in trouble? Or we could say, it sounds like one of those things you should probably talk to him about and tell him that he's doing the wrong thing if it's appropriate there. Or sometimes a child is just reporting, hey, Billy left the light on in the bathroom again. And what the child needs, instead of this selfishness that they have inside, they need to learn how to be a servant. And so they can say to a child, hey, look, you can say to a child, why don't you be a servant and go turn it off for them? So what we're doing is we're trying to navigate this challenging area of the challenge when children bring problems to their parents. What kind of problems are these? If they're the kind of problems that are just putting someone else down, then we have an issue we want to help that child to grab hold of. And so we're trying to wrestle in the child's heart with those things so the child knows what's appropriate kind of reporting and what isn't. We want the reporting, but we don't want tattling. I think that's why we like these verses in Ephesians 4:29. It says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Are you really trying to help here is the question with tattling, or are you just trying to get someone into trouble? So we ask that question, and it launches us into this kind of a complicated area where children often don't understand what's appropriate and not appropriate. And sometimes we don't want them trying to solve the problem. We want them to report to us and try to, instead of solving it. But they need to understand when reporting is good, when tattling has crossed the line. And as we discuss this with them, they can learn some valuable lessons that they'll be able to use for the rest of their lives. Let's talk about that with our kids so that they can grasp this idea of how to report things in a way that's edifying to all involved.